Hello YouTube, how's it going? This is the crossover and I'm back with another video. Today is going to be another one of my 2022 NBA draft scouting reports, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Duke's Wendell Moore Jr. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. Moving on, we do have some stats to cover regarding Wendell Moore. First up, he is 20 years old, stands at about 6 feet 6 inches, weighs about 215 pounds, and has a 6 foot 10 inch wingspan. Very, very impressive physical profile for the forward. And even though he is a junior at Duke, this is his third year, he still is only 20 years old, so he is on the relatively younger side. So very impressive physical profile for Wendell Moore. Moving on to his stats, as I just stated, this past season was his junior year at Duke, his third year at college, where he did average a very solid 13.4 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.9 turnovers per game. Very efficient all-around player. You like to see a little bit of those assists, some of the rebounds, very solid scorer as well, and you like to see those steals as well. So it kind of gives us a glimpse into the kind of player that Wendell Moore is, and the efficiency numbers paint him as an even better player, as he does have a 56.9% effective field goal percentage, which is very impressive, and is shooting 80.5% from the free throw line, which is very impressive as well. He also has a 33.5 3-point attempt rate, which I would like to see it go up personally. We'll discuss his 3-point shot selection later on in the video. However, that's not to say that he's not an efficient player, as you guys can see by the efficiency numbers. And this is extremely impressive because he's doing this on only 19.5 and he only has a usage rate of 19.5. So that is extremely impressive that he's this efficient, racking up this totality of stats, contributing in every area of the game while only having a 19.5% usage rate. So that kind of just gives you a glimpse into the kind of player and the caliber of player that Wendell Moore is. Moving on to some of Wendell Moore's strengths as a prospect, first off, I do want to discuss his three-point shooting, which I do believe to be one of the biggest strengths in his game. Wendell Moore is a shooter, and what I mean by that is just the mechanics and the mannerisms in which he displays on the court, on the offensive side of the floor, just indicate that he's just a shooter. A lot of other players can shoot, and there's a difference between being a shooter. Wendell Moore is a shooter. And what I mean by that is his IQ and his awareness. He's always moving to the open side on the three-point line. He's always relocating himself. For example, if Jeremy Roach is attacking his side of the court and he's on the wing, he'll relocate himself and kind of follow Jeremy Roach to the corner, right? So that he'll be open, because obviously, you think his man is going to slide. Wendell Moore's man is going to slide in front of Jeremy Roach, so that means Wendell Moore is going to keep moving down, so he's going to be open, right? And the same thing occurs on the other side of the floor. If he's on the wing, and let's say Jeremy Roach is attacking the right side, so that would mean Wendell Moore is on the weak side. Wendell Moore kind of fills out, rotates to the top of the key, and he's always ready to shoot as well. He's always down in his stance. He's more of a 2-foot shooter, and what I mean by that is, some shooters like to keep their strong side foot back, and then when they catch the ball, then bring it and kind of even out their foot, then shoot. I think Wendell Moore is much more of a 2-foot shooter, where his feet are just always planted so that you can just catch and rise up. Don't get me wrong, he can, or he tends, that doesn't mean he doesn't, have his right foot come up to his left foot and kind of even them out, but still, I think he's more of a 2-foot shooter. And, I think in general, I think two-feet shooting is much more effective. I think it's a bit quicker. So that's something that you do like to see as well. And what I really like about him as well is that his hands are always ready and he's always down. A lot of other players in this class, we've gotten through pretty much about 31 prospects so far in terms of, individual scouting reports on this channel. And I haven't seen too many prospects that just catch and rise up. A lot of them like to catch and then they bring the ball down and then they rise back up, right? That's not the case with Wendell Moore. He's down, catches, his shooting pocket is right. He is right at his shoulder, and then he just rises up, and that's a great sign in terms of being a shooter, because that's kind of like shooting 101, right? So again, you like to see that very polished shooter. In terms of his mechanics, they're great. He gets good extension on his shot, very high release. His shooting elbow tends to poke out a little bit, and I think the base in terms of his feet could be widened a little bit. But again, he's still a good shooter, and given all the other mannerisms that he's displayed as we just discussed, I think he's going to be a very good shooter at the next level. Moving on to another area of his shooting on the floor that I really like is his mid-range shot. He's not going to do anything crazy, but he does like to get to his spots. He likes the mid-range, like the 10-foot area, like right on the right corner, as well as, he likes to operate in the middle of the paint as well. And in terms of his mid-range shot, he likes to fade away a lot, which is fine because he gets good elevation on his shot and his release. So it's not like he's has a low release, and then he's fading away. So, obviously when you're fading away, it's going to be harder to make the shot, obviously, because, you're fading away, right? Physics 101, right? But with, Wendell Moore, he gets such good elevation and release on his shot that, it doesn't really matter. And he's displayed that he's able to get the shot off in traffic. He can get the shot up over two defenders. So again, that's just something that you love to see him just be so polished. And it's not like he's doing anything crazy. It's just a simple, two dribbles, fade away, jump shot. So it's not like it can't translate to the next level. It's a very simple yet effective move that I could see him, utilizing at the NBA level, being able to attack closeouts and whatnot. And another part of his, I guess you could call it his shooting repertoire, is his floater. I don't think he has the greatest floater in the world, but I love the poise that he has shown with it. And what I mean by that is he likes to attack and then slow down in the paint. So he likes to drive. Let's say he's driving right. He'll take, that right step, kind of slow down, and then he'll take that left step and then kind of slow down and then feel out his defender, kind of try to get them on his back. So then he just has, an open floater. And I think he could get a little bit better of elevation on his floater, but in general, you still like to see that craftiness and that poise and that experience level for Wendell Moore, being able to, that's a veteran's move, being able to recognize, okay, there's a defender behind me, I'm kind of in traffic right now. Let me kind of slow down to get the shot off. And that's something that you don't really see in a lot of freshmen or sophomore players. So you really like to see that. With Wendell Moore, you like to see his poise and just his maturity as a player, right? And I think he's also a very good finisher as well. He's able to adjust the contact in midair. He's able to do up and unders, finish the contact, finish high over defenders. He's a right-handed player. His right-handed finishing is very good, but that doesn't mean that he's not a decent left-hand finisher as well. I think he's a solid finisher with his left hand, but that right hand is very good, and it's not like his left hand is a complete liability like a player like Tari Eason, for example, a player who just goes strictly right. Like Wendell Moore can't finish with his left hand. So again, you like to see that. You like to be such a polished player from pretty much every level in terms of his scoring. But he's also a very good passer. You can make an argument that this is the best part of his game. Wendell Moore is a very good passer, and I think that I would have liked to see his passing even be utilized more for Duke, especially in those lineups where it was, Trevor Keels, Banchero, AJ, and Mark Williams, where there wasn't really a point guard on the floor. I would have really liked to see Wendell Moore handle the ball more so than Trevor Keels, because Wendell Moore can really pass. I mean, there's been plays where I believe it was either Miami or Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament where he's attacking on the right side and midair, he's going up for the layup, and AJ Griffin is open in the left corner, and he just a flick of the wrist, midair, just boom, a bullet pass. And it wasn't like he had two hands on the ball. It was literally rising up with the left hand, just flick of the wrist to the corner midair. Like I haven't seen that in this class. Like that's an amazing pass that I've never seen anybody make that pass before. So for Wendell Moore to be able to display it, he's also very good at dump offs as well. Loves to attack and dump off the ball to whether that be Mark Williams or any of the other players, cutting Paolo Banchero or whatnot. Very good dump off player, and he's also just a smart player, high IQ player, always keeping the ball moving. He's not going to be a ball hog, almost to a fault sometimes. Sometimes you like to see him be more aggressive for Duke this season. But again, you love to see him very unselfish player, and I think that there's a lot of upside in terms of him being, a playmaker at the next level. I'm not saying he's going to be able to, run your offense or anything like that, but I think he could be. There's upside for him to be, a secondary creator for some offense if he were to, hit his ceiling. And moving on to the defense side of the floor, he's a very polished on-ball defender. His footwork is great. Moves his feet very well, very active hands, as you guys can tell by those steals. Doesn't really garner a lot of those steals from being a strong side defender, really picking off passing lanes. He can, but most of his steals come from just poking the ball from defenders. So, that's very good. And he's also really able to get through screens, which again, I really like in terms of when he's, when he's the defender and pick and rolls, he's able to get through screens very well. And that's an issue with some perimeter players in this class where they just can't get through screens quick enough, but that's not an issue for Wendell Moore. He's able to just see screens, get over them. He likes to kind of, move his body, kind of like snake around them, which is again, it's a very impressive, and I really like that Wendell Moore is as polished of an on-ball defender as he is. But I think his weak side defense is spotty, but I think he's a very good communicator. He's always directing traffic, telling Paulo Banchero to go here, Trevor Keels to go there, calling out screens and whatnot. And again, him being able to get through screens does allow him, as I state here, to blow up certain plays. Overall, as you guys can tell by his strengths, just a very polished player, great shooter, very, very, very not the flashiest of players, but a very sound player, very mechanically sound player, and a player that plays with pace. I think he's going to be able to play make a little bit on terms of, combined with his shooting, and then that you combine that with him being a great on-ball defender as well as being a good communicator off ball. I mean, as you guys can tell, I really like Wendell Moore as a prospect. I really like how overall sound and complete of a player he is at this point in his development. Moving on to some of the concerns I do have with Wendell Moore. I guess these are more nitpicks than outright concerns, just given how much, if you guys couldn't tell, how much I really like Wendell Moore as a prospect. First up, as I mentioned before, just, his shooting elbow kind of pokes out a little bit on his shot, which I do feel like can mess with his release at times, with his follow through at times, since, if you're shooting up, yeah, you guys kind of get it. If your shooting elbow's kind of poking out a little bit, can mess, with you, like getting like that full extension on your shot. And, that combined that with his base, his feet are a little bit too close together, that he doesn't necessarily have like a wide base on his shot. I feel like it can mess with that. His base can mess with the balance in his shot a bit. So you would like to see that be cleaned up a little bit. Even though he is a great shooter, I feel like, ironing out some of those minor mechanical issues in his shot can make him an even better shooter and elevate his shooting and take it to another level. And another big thing with Wendell Moore, which I don't get, is that he'll pass up open threes for like contested floaters. And I'm just like, dude, like you're a very good shooter. Like take the, like an open three is a better quality shot than a floater, regardless if the floater is open or not. A three is the better quality shot. Like, just take the three. Like, I don't understand that logic. And there's just times where he's just not outright aggressive at all. Like against Virginia Tech when Duke lost in the ACC tournament, there were like multiple times where Wendell would come off he would come off stagger screens and just not attempt, like he wouldn't even look at the basket. And it's like, dude, like you're like, I know you're third technically in the pecking order, sometimes fourth behind Jeremy Roche if Jeremy Roche is hot, but you're a first round pick in the NBA draft. Like you're gonna be you're a first round quality talent. Like go get yours. Like there were times, especially like you're a junior. Like go get yours. I know that he's the glue guy, and he fills and he does that role perfectly. But you would like to see Wendell Moore be a little bit more aggressive than he was at times this season for Duke. Because I mean, there were times where Paolo Banchero, his shot would be on and off, or Paulo Banchero be the only one out there, or Trevor Keels kind of lost his confidence down the stretch, right? Or AJ Griffin is out the game, or AJ, something's going on with AJ, and Jeremy Roche can't get anything going. And there were times where Wendell Moore, you would kind of look to him to kind of take over. And don't get me wrong, there were some games where he did take over, but again, I would have liked to see him take over and down the stretch more so than he did, especially in that Virginia Tech game. And there were a couple instances in during March Madness, and as well as this final game against UNC, there were times where I felt like he could have gotten better shots. And again, I harbor back on the 3-point thing. Like I don't understand. Like I think that was more of a coaching issue. Like I feel like a coach should have just been like, dude, like you're an awesome 3-point shooter. You're open from three. You take the open three, right? And I feel like that's more of a coaching issue. And I feel like at the next level, the coaches are just going to be like, dude, like you're a good shooter. You just shoot the crap out the ball, right? So again, I feel like these are minor issues that I feel like can be ironed out at the next level, but still, I feel like they're worth noting because I gotta note something because I love Wendell Moore as a prospect so much. If you guys can I need things to discuss. And another issue, or not an issue, but I guess technically an issue, is that he doesn't necessarily get all that much elevation on his floaters. His momentum kind of takes him forward, and that kind of makes it hard for him to kind of get up. Even though he does do it, with his teardrops, as I stated before, there are times where his floaters would just be a little bit flat, and he won't necessarily get all that much elevation on them. So that's just something to work out again at the next level. But again, given that I think he's going to be taking a lot more threes at the next level than he did this past year at Duke, I think he'll be fine. And then defensively, he can be a little bit sloppy on closeouts. This is something that can annoy me because it's like you're just such a sound defender. It's like, why are you giving let's be honest here. Sometimes Wendell Moore can give half-assed efforts on closeouts, and then defenders will just blow by him, and they don't kind of have to turn around. He'll be out to play, and his footwork is a bit sloppy there. So I think that's much more of an effort thing than anything, just because he's displayed such good lateral footwork on ball that it's like, why, and you can just tell the difference in effort with Wendell Moore and with some closeouts. And on my notes, I took down a good amount of closeouts where he's just kind of a bit sloppy. So you definitely like to see him clean up that, and as well as he can fall asleep as a weak side defender sometimes, which is, again, is kind of weird given the fact that he's always communicating. But when he's not communicating, he is very liable to get backdoored or just have his man just flash to the corner and just be liable to have just a cross court pass happen, and then he'll have to close out, right? So I feel like that will be something that he will have to clean up at the next level. But the biggest issues that I do have, maybe the shooting. I feel like the 3-point shooting thing and just the aggressiveness is going to get worked out at the next level with better coaching. I'm not the biggest Coach K fan, but NBA coaches are just better coaches. And the elevation on the floor, just I feel like it can be worked out as well. And then with the closeouts and the defense, I feel like that can improve just given how good of a communicator he is, and how polished he is as an on-ball defender. So overall, I absolutely love Wendell Moore as a prospect. Such an efficient player on both sides of the floor. He can do a little bit of everything offensively, kind of like a jack of all trades. That's a very good shooter. And I think there's upside as a playmaker. Very good rebounder as well. Very good on-ball defender and a good communicator overall. I have Wendell Moore as a top 20 prospect in this class. I don't understand the rationale in people. I've seen a lot of people have him as a second round pick. How? Like, I don't understand that logic. Like, I will go to war over Wendell Moore being a first round pick in this class. I think he's going to be a very, very good role player at the next level. He's never going to be a star. I think his ceiling is being, a very good starter at the NBA level, and his floor is being a rotation player. So he's going to be an NBA player for a very long time. And I can't wait to see where Wendell Moore gets drafted come late June. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about Wendell Moore. Let me know what you guys think he should be drafted. Do you guys agree with me and believe that he's, a mid first round talent, a top 20 pick right outside the lottery? Do you guys feel that he is a lottery pick? Do you guys feel that he is a second round pick? More of the consensus, as I am a lot higher on him, I feel, again, than the overall consensus. But again, I really like him as a prospect. But let me know what you guys think about Wendell Moore in the comments. And aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, please share the channel with a friend. I want to keep growing the channel, keep growing the community that we have here. And again, aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and have a blessed day. Take care.